So today's topic is about how to land a data analyst job. I think everybody has the feeling that the market is not very favorable. Canada, US, and the economy. Well, if you look at the stock market, it looks like the economy is doing well. But I think those of you who are looking for a job, you can definitely feel that there are less jobs on the market, it's more competitive. And some of our students, they get interviews and they made it to the final round and they got rejected. So apparently the market is a lot more competitive compared to 6 months ago or last year. So today we will discuss, among others, how to actually overcome the challenges and still find a job. What are some of the things we could do, with the help of WeCloudData? Particularly, I want to introduce one special bootcamp. Over here, you can see. Let me just maximize it. Okay, so it's a self-paced, mentor-guided, recorded bootcamp, and people can start anytime. I will talk about the benefits of this new format. In the past, we run live bootcamp, meaning we have instructor, teaching a class of 20, 25 people. We also have 1 or 2 teaching assistants, helping some of the students who might get stuck or run into any challenges. So everything is delivered live. And we found, in a class of 20, 25 people, sometimes we have 30 people, and only a few students are very active. They ask questions, and if they run into any challenges, they will raise their hand, and either the instructor or TA will come and help them. So most of the students will just tag along, just go through the entire session of 3 hours. And it's not very different from watching the recorded session later on. Live bootcamp obviously is more expensive, so we will need to hire instructors and TA, and they will teach the same bootcamp, maybe 4 cohorts a year. So we usually run 4 cohorts a year, and for data analytics, we have January cohort, April, July, and October. But if we reduce the price, so the live bootcamp we charge $7,000. But if we reduce the price and we give you the same content in terms of the videos, materials, and even with more support from the TA. So in this case, you could have one-on-one sessions with the TA, and you can book the TA's time once every week. So if you run into challenges, you can ask questions on Slack, or if the problem is more complicated, you can book the TA's time. And that format we think is not necessarily worse compared to the live bootcamp, but in terms of pricing, it can be a lot cheaper. So in this case, self-paced, mentor-guided, recorded bootcamp, and you can start anytime. Doesn't have to be January, April, July, and October. So whenever you register, you pay, and you can start watching the recording, and you can learn at your own pace, and you can get help from the TA, every week or anytime on Slack. We think this could benefit, majority of the people. So we've made the decision we will run the light bootcamp still at $7,000 per student. But at the same time, we also run the recorded bootcamp. It's like a bus you can hop on anytime. Let me just go to this page. I usually start with this page. In the data space, I think last week and also this week, most of you have read the news about OpenAI. So AI becomes so big since last year. And we've also got questions from the students or even interested people. Would AI change the landscape? Will AI take away the job of data analytics or data science, data engineering? So I'm going to answer some of that question too, through today's presentation. In a nutshell, AI is not going to take away majority of the jobs. We still need humans, but those data professionals who know how to work with generative AI, and particularly, the large language model or some other multi-model AI model, will definitely become more competitive, compared to the people who don't know how to work with AI. So AI itself is not the threat. The people, the humans who know how to work with AI is definitely a threat. So in future, you can imagine AI will become a very good assistant, to intermediate or senior data professional. But some of the junior, analyst jobs probably, can be done, by AI. I'm talking about those consistent, repetitive tasks that can be performed, by AI. And I think at the bottom of the pyramid, it's going to be harder, for junior data analysts to find jobs. And if you have any questions, please feel free to raise your question using chat. So I'm going to answer your questions as we move forward. So now let's look at the full typical data roles. So you can see bottom right, data analyst, and then we have data scientist and data engineer, and this is machine learning engineer. And if you pay attention, you will notice the same 11 skills. So the same skill sets for all 4 types of jobs. It's just the degree of specialization is a bit different. So you can see this radar chart or spider chart, and your skill tree looks a bit different. So we will start with data analyst, and I'm going to focus on the skills. As a data analyst, you need to score 5 points. So when I say 5 points, we start from 0 here, and this 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5. Okay. So from here, you can see data visualization is definitely key. Visualization is just a form of communication. 10 years ago, I think it might be enough if you just create tables and create static charts. Most people know how to use line chart on column or bar chart, maybe donut chart or what else? Pie chart. But nowadays, I think it's more important to create a dashboard that includes multiple charts and filters and slicers. So it's not just static, standalone chart. It's a suite of visuals, and all together, it can be used to tell a story. And it's not only dynamic, and it's also interactive. So the users, the business users, will be able to use the dashboard to answer some of their own questions. So it's automatic and it's versatile. It can be used by people at different levels of their jobs and from different dimensions. So it's a lot more powerful. So data visualization become a trend, and it's the newest tool, the newest technology. I noticed that Ether had a question. I come from a business background, finance and marketing. Do you think it will be beneficial for the data analytics role? And since I need to provide business insight and reporting, since you asked that question, let me just pause over here. And our students come from different kinds of background, and broadly speaking, we have students coming from STEM background, technical background. So people with engineering, science, technology, math background. We've also had students coming from what I use is FAVE background. So it's finance, accounting, business, and economics or humanity, language or literature. So to answer your question, if you're coming from the business background, you actually have an advantage. Because if I were to break down the data process, we actually start with business, because ultimately data is to serve business, right? So we use data to answer business questions, solve business problems, and support business decisions and create value for the business and customers. So obviously we start with business. And if you have the business background, and obviously you know how to make money in the business, you know the core processes and key decision areas. And these for you are pretty straightforward and easy. But comparatively speaking, people coming from the STEM background, it might be harder for them to understand the objectives, the goals, and unless you give them very clear instruction and they can do a good job. Otherwise, they probably lack the sense of purpose, and they don't necessarily have the big picture, compared to you guys, coming from the business background. But on the other hand, when it comes to data analysis, the second step, so the first step is business analysis, the second step is data analysis. And people coming from STEM background may have an advantage because they were trained to think logically, and they may pick up programming or coding faster compared to people from humanity or business background. So now I'm going to talk about the third step, which is the data vis or business intelligence, which is the highest point that you can keep. So you want to present your findings from the data. So you want to communicate back to the business. You present the conclusions and the recommendations, and so it could be a great opportunity, and you can monetize, or maybe some potential problems or dangers we want to avoid and we want to overcome. So once again, you are communicating back to the business team. So you need to speak the business terms, and people from the technical background or the STEM background, and they oftentimes feel challenged, trying to put down the commentary or the remarks, or even communicate verbally and back to the business. So in a nutshell, either I think nobody is perfect, and you, from the business perspective, and so I think you have a competitive advantage, but you will need to work harder on coding, anything technical. Yeah. So I hope I answered that question. So back here, so data visualization is important, storytelling. So this is just the tool, and but we use this tool to tell a story. And business insight, once again, we want to present the findings, including conclusions and recommendations, right? And reporting is something you do on a daily basis. So you could have ongoing reporting, or you could have requests from the business team on an ad hoc basis. So meaning you will need to answer some random questions. Okay, so I think this is clear to you. You will still need to learn some of the other stuff, but it's not that deep compared to data scientist, data engineer, or machine learning engineer. So I hope you're okay with this. Question from Hannah. For data engineer, how does someone with finance accounting background break into it? Have been self-learning coding language and web development. Okay, so I need to clarify a few things, Hannah. Very, very high level, I think it's much easier for people from the business background to break into data analyst role. And usually for data engineer, you will see people with computer science or software engineering background. They will I think it will be easier for them. They will do better. So because data engineer will do a lot of coding, okay? But for data scientists, I think you see quite many data scientists coming from math and statistics background, because the majority of your time is spent training models, right? And the same is true with, so this machine learning engineer is like combining, data science and data engineering. So let's go to data scientists for a moment. So you can see the highest degree of specialization, experimentation. So this is A/B testing. So those of you who have learned, this is statistics 5-point machine learning modeling. So you will need to be really good at, and the modeling techniques and process. Versus data engineer. So you focus a lot more on building data pipelines. So this is data infrastructure. It's usually on the cloud. So cloud computing is also very important. And you're almost the expert on database systems, such as MySQL, SQL Server, or Postgre. So you need to be really good at this. Versus machine learning engineer. So this is training model, and this is implementing the model and actually maintain the model in production environment. So this is like operations, okay? So sometimes you see machine learning ops, so this is operations. So if you look at this, so machine learning operations, so this is developing model. This is actually using the model to make a real-time decision, and you are behind that. You are supporting that decision-making. Deployment, once again, is to implement and deploy the model into production environment. But still, so you still need to know statistics and A/B testing and modeling. But to a lesser degree compared to data scientists. I hope everybody is clear on different focus. Okay, so coming back to either, will data analysts become data scientists as they go higher up? That's a good question. So I think, let's say you break into this space and you work as a data analyst. So what's the next step? You can have two strategies, and depending on your work style. You know, some people enjoy building depth, so you want to become more and more specialized. And data analysts or business intelligence analysts, you already have a very solid foundation. Okay, so on top of that, you can, you know, become better in Python programming, and you can learn the tools and techniques of machine learning. And of course, you can become a data scientist. But I've also seen people with different personality, you know, they just love to go back and forth, you know, work with business team and work horizontally. So you can actually develop a professional range. So in this case, you can go from a data analyst to maybe a business intelligence consultant, or maybe business intelligence developer, or business intelligence engineer. You know, sometimes you use the engineer, you know, whenever you need to deploy, let's say, a BI solution into production. And you can also make money, make a lot more money that way. So to answer your question, you can go wide, you can go deep, and depending on your strengths, and depending on your interests, and also depending on your work style and personality. Okay, I hope I answered that question. All right, so let's go to the next step. And nowadays, this is not a secret anymore. It's pretty hard for you to land a data analyst role with just a resume. And almost everyone needs to prepare a portfolio. A portfolio for a data analyst, you can include your SQL code, you can include the process, you can include a data model, you can include a mock-up report. But a lot of times, you want to include the visuals, because the visuals are eye-catching, you know, and most people will pay attention to the visualization. So this is just, you know, a portfolio, one page. So some of our students, they're smart. They actually come up with this format. So they have a one-page resume, and then they also include the second page. And the second page is a portfolio sample. Okay, but still you can see there is a link to their portfolio. So if you're interested, if you're curious, you can click on this link and you can look at every project they did in the past. And if not, you can very quickly, you know, flip to the second page, and you don't have to spend that much time. But when you look at this, you say, "Oh, this is pretty good work," right? So the purpose of a resume is to get you an interview, and you know, with a resume and the second page being the portfolio sample, a lot of our students will get, you know, better chances and will get more interviews. All right. So this is something I want you to take a look at. But before this, you know what? Let's just take a look at this, and then I'm going to take you to MySQL to look at these use cases in detail. I want to talk about imposter syndrome. The reason the market become more competitive in the past, if you take online courses, if you watch YouTube videos and if you use some of the free or low-cost resources you find online, and you teach yourself data analytics, you probably could find data analyst job. But now I think the bar is raised higher. And you'll not only need a portfolio, and the project needs to be industry grade, professional quality. And a lot of the, data analysts want to be on the market. They have this imposter syndrome. So if you look at this, this is just an example. This could be a project you did, or it could be part of the work experience. So if you take a look, this is in the space of CRM. And those of you who know CRM, CRM stands for Customer Relationship Management. So you probably think of Salesforce, or what else? Microsoft Dynamics, or there's some other CRM as well. Let me see. What I use is actually HubSpot. Yes, HubSpot. So let me go back to the PowerPoint before I lose my train of thought. Okay, so this is in the space of CRM, and a subcategory could be digital marketing. So for CRM, you can use traditional channels such as telemarketing. You can call out, or direct mail. You can send people an offer in the envelope. But now, a cheaper and more effective way of marketing is digital. So it's digital marketing. And in the subcategory and within digital marketing, and email channel is still very, very popular. I think all of you probably get a lot of spam emails, or a lot of emails will go straight to your spam folder. Yes, so this channel is full of spams, but still email is a major channel for the companies, for the business to do marketing. So from time to time, they will design and execute and measure email campaigns. So CRM is a much bigger concept, and digital marketing is just one category, and email campaign is a subcategory. So let's just go through this, the work you did. So as a data analyst, you work with creative people, like marketers, and you also with engineers. So this is business and this is IT, and you are in the data team. So I need you to understand the dynamics within the organization. So you're in the middle. You're in the middle office. Marketers is in the front office, is customer facing, and IT or data engineers are in the back office. So you're the bridge, between marketers and engineers. So you work with them to design and execute email campaigns and generate needs. So needs are prospects, and you need to drive them through a conversion funnel, so you can convert leads into sales. Ultimately, is revenue and sales important to the business, right? So this is the first bullet. The second bullet is you cover end-to-end process all the way from step one, list generation. So you will need to edit a filter or do inclusions and exclusion, so you can narrow down the people you want to target. And then you can execute the campaign. And after that, you need to measure the performance of the campaign. So 3 steps: list generation, campaign execution, and performance measurement. As a data analyst, you need to work through this entire process end to end. The third bullet, you need to generate a targeted. So this is list generation. You need to generate a targeted email list based on business rules, and we'll look at some of this business rules. And if you're not familiar with this acronym, so this is do not call list. So this becomes very big if you're running a telemarketing campaign. But still, when people register their phone, they also register their address or maybe email. They don't want you to contact them, right? So this becomes a list you will need to run against, so you can exclude some of the customers. Otherwise, you're violating, you're breaking the law. So it's a compliance issue. So you don't comply with the regulations. And I think some of you might have heard of CASL, the Canadian anti-spam legislation. So these are the laws and regulations you need to be aware of, okay? And number 4, you can segment the whole list, after the exclusion. So you can segment them based on some attributes. So it could be demographic, could be behavior, or it could be, preference. So you can use those characteristics to segment the email list. And then for each segment, you can offer very customized and personalized content to engage the audience or the leads. And so they become interested, and then you can have that conversation and then convert them into sales. So I'm hoping you're clear about this. And then this is actually A/B testing or experimentation. So you need to use to maybe plant a random seed to divide the email list into control and test group. And then you can use maybe different email creatives. An email is an email. I think most of us are familiar with what's in the email. So for the email, you could have a different subject, right? You could have different body. You could include a picture or with or without a picture. And this is called to action, right? So that's the most important thing. And the whole reason you send this email is because you want to engage the need, and you want them to do something. So if you really want to find out what is more effective, so you can separate the list into control and test group, and assuming it's very random, so they're sharing the same distribution, based on these attributes. So if you treat them, with different creative, maybe you just want to test maybe one thing. Maybe if you change the subject, it will affect the open rate. So people will, when I look at the subject and they become interested and they click on it. So this is something we don't know unless we test it, right? So to determine what works and what doesn't, I think this bullet becomes clear. And then you will need to define KPIs. For email campaign, and the typical KPIs are open rate, click rate, conversion rate. So you can use them to measure the email campaign performance, improve return on investment. So that's how much you spend on this campaign. And then the return is basically the number of leads and number of sales, right? And then you can, the invert, the one divided by this is your cost of acquisition. So you want to improve ROI and reduce cost of acquisition. So I hope you're clear on this. I'm pretty sure, some of you may have some idea, but some of you, or the rest of you, you still feel, you don't know about this. So this is the reason why I say, even though, let's say a mentor is trying to help you, we can actually put these bullet points on your resume, and for sure it will help you get an interview. But you don't feel good about this. This is basically how you feel. I know this kind of experience can get me an interview. I also really want to read these bullets on my resume, but because I have never done it, and then I feel like a fake. I feel like a fake. And this happened to both new and recent grads, or career switcher. Okay, so this is something called imposter syndrome, and we want to help you overcome. So just as an example, I want to take you through this. So I hope you can see clear, my SQL workbench. Okay, so from this, you can see these are the same 5 or 6 bullet points. And this could be your project, CRM, type digital marketing, type email campaign, right? So let's just get some idea. The data flows from system to system to system. And some of you, great. So Nahid said HubSpot. Yes, HubSpot is a very typical CRM software. So let's say you actually get data from HubSpot, and then you can somehow load this data into your SQL server, okay? And then you use SQL to do a number of things. And then the output. So this is basically the process with the input and with the output. So the input is data from HubSpot, and the output is the email list you export to MailChimp. So MailChimp, I think some of you know, this is an automation tool. So you can use MailChimp to send 500 emails or maybe 1,000 emails, right? And it can be very personalized, so you address people by their first name. And so this is the data flow. And
I'm sorry to interrupt. I raised my hand that you didn't I think. I think I lost the purpose of the last slide. Is it an example of a case that we would have in the course, or sorry, I'm quite lost on.
Okay. This is not something from the course. I'm just using this to demonstrate the importance of actually doing the work and doing the project, so you will feel more comfortable and confident to write the bunch of bullets on your resume, and you also know what to talk about, right, during the interview.
Okay.
Yes. So I'm hoping, because if I just walk you through this bullet points, it doesn't make sense to you, or it doesn't make any impression. But after I take you through this example, and then we go back here, and you will develop some feelings with every single bullet point. You will feel like you have actually, even though you haven't done this personally, but I've taken you through this process, and you feel better. All right? Okay. Good.
Thank you.
Yeah. So this is a media company I think you know. It's called Global and Mail. Okay. So Global Mail used to be newspaper. It's paper-based, but now it still has paper. You wouldn't believe it. We still have the older generation, and they want to read the newspaper. I mean, real paper. But they also launched the digital version, so you can read it using iPad. So the subscription plan, there are two kinds of plans, monthly and annual. So this is like any other subscription business. So if you pay for the whole year, it's going to be cheaper, on a monthly basis. But you can still go from month to month, right? You have more flexibility, so you can cancel maybe after 3 months. Okay, and then subscription type. So you can subscribe to digital or print, or digital and print. For some reason, we have customers who want digital only or print only, or digital and print. Of course, this will cost more, right? And print will cost more because you need to deliver it, right? So frequency of delivery, and some people want the newspaper every day, and other people only want the weekend version, or still other people want the whole weekday, and so this is the every day. So this is the weekend only and the weekday only. Okay. So now we come up with several campaigns. So over here you can see campaigns, digital and print, so this is digital and print Saturday, digital and print Monday through Saturday. And the subject line is Globe to Go at 1.99 per week. So this looks very cheap, And Globe to Go Saturday home delivery for $6.99 a week. This is more expensive. Globe to Go Monday through Saturday home delivery at $10.99 a week. So I think you get it, right? So it's just different campaign to target different people. But how do you know whom to target for, let's say, Monday through Saturday home delivery? You can use people's age, maybe gender, or maybe education or occupation, stuff like that. So you can segment them. So I'm jumping ahead. So let me just show you. A typical approach is you always want to create a database over here. So you can create a database over here, and then you use the database. And the name of the database is TGAM, the global and mail, right? So I'm going to do this. And then when you refresh, you will have a database over here, right? But it's empty. There's no table. Just for illustration purpose, we need 3 tables. The first table is email, and the second table is campaign, and the third table is activity. So you notice that in the email table, again, for simplicity, you will have ID of the email, and then the email itself, and then you have the email status. Email status probably has values like valid, invalid, and this is a consent status. So the owner of the email may opt in or maybe opt out. So it is by law or maybe required by regulation. When you receive email from the business, they have to include a unsubscribe button. I think you have that experience. So if you don't like it, you can just click on unsubscribe, and then your email status or the consent status will change from opt-in to opt-out. I hope you get that. Okay. So ID is the primary key. So for campaign, you have the ID of the campaign or the campaign description or the campaign itself, and then the subject line, right? Of course, the actual campaign will include more information like the body or call to action. Right, so this is activity, and this is the ID of every single activity. And so you will have the campaign ID from the campaign table. You will have email ID from the email table. And then the date. So the activity is on that date. So the same email can just go through a number of activities on different dates, okay? Now, once again, there is the ID for this activity as the primary key, and then you have campaign ID as the foreign key or email ID as the foreign key. These are in reference to ID in campaign or ID in email. So after this, let me just refresh this and you will see the three tables, but they're empty. I just want you to see this data model, this very simple database. So I'm going to click on database. I will go to reverse engineer. And then you can click on next and next. So this is the database I want to select and next, and execute. And next, finish. So this is a very, very simplified data model. I'm going to bring this. So this is a fact table. This is not a fact table. This is a dimension table. This is the dimension table, and this is a fact table. Okay, so you can see this is one-to-many relationship from email to activity and one-to-many relationships from campaign to activity. So this is the email ID is the campaign ID. And you have email ID and campaign ID, right? And this is easy to understand. I mean, every email can be included for, multiple campaigns, right? And then if you launch a campaign, that email will be sent a message, and then that message will go through a number of activities. For instance, it will be delivered, it will be received, and will be open, or maybe it will be read, or maybe it will be clicked. So I'm going to talk about that activity. So let me just close this model without saving. So coming back here. So I'm just gonna, include some sample data. So for instance, the email table. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 email. So these are just, fictitious emails, not real email. Smith@gmail.com. So this email status is valid, opt-in. So valid. They're all valid. And then opt-in. So it can be mixed with some invalid emails or opt-out, right? How do you know it's invalid? So if the email bounced, and then you can change the status to invalid. Or if people click on unsubscribe, so you need to flip it. You need to flip opt-in to flip out, to opt-out, right? So this is the campaign itself. This is the campaign. I think I walked you through this a while ago. So this is the campaign, name of the campaign. This is the subject of that email campaign. All right. So let's just take one example. So let's say this is the activity. So this is the ID, activity ID. So let's just take one email ID. So this email ID being 1, so this bunch. So you notice that this, the email ID for the 4 records, the first 4 rows, 1, right? And the campaign ID is also 1, but you have 4 activities, 1, 2, 3, and 4, right? They represent, the email was sent, the email was delivered. The email can be sent but not delivered, right? If it's invalid, right? And then after delivered, the recipient of the email may open it or may not. After they open it, so inside the email, in the body of the email, and there might be a URL link. So the call to action is get this free ebook, get this free presentation. Or register for this free seminar. So people will click on that link, and then this activity will be captured, right? So if you look at another, wait a minute, all these are 111, is it? Oh, no. So this is a different email. So this is 22, right? So the email is sent but bounced, you see? Look at number 3. So this is the third email. So the email is sent and delivered and opened, and the customer or the prospect doesn't like it. He unsubscribed it. So what about this one? This is 444. So it was sent, delivered, and opened, but then nothing after. So these are 5. So the email is sent, deliver, open, and click. So this is 6. Email sent and deliver, but nothing after that. Okay. So after that, remember we need to do the first step, list generation. So basically, you will run some inclusions and exclusion. We have do not call list. We have Canadian anti-spam legislation, arresting rules. So these are very good, very important information that you want to use to talk about during the interview. So if you're applying for, let's say, marketing analyst, digital marketing analyst, or campaign analyst, and these are very, very typical DA or BI jobs, right? So you will need to be well versed with these terms, arresting rules. What does it mean? So meaning you can't send the same person email too often, too frequent. So let's say you set the resting rule every 30 days. So then you will need to find the last time, maybe the last day of the activity associated with this email. And then ever since that, we already have more than 30 days, and now it passed this resting rule, and it will be included. Otherwise, it will be excluded, right? Okay. So these are just examples. So you can scrub against this email list. You can delete if the email status is invalid or the consent status is opt out, then delete it. So this is exclusion, obviously. So this query will help you identify the invalid email as well, and then it will be excluded. So this, if the email is found on the do not call list, you're going to delete it, right? So this is the resting rule. So basically, this is today, and then minus 30 days. If the maximum, the last day of the activity associated with this email is actually greater than this, then it's less than 30 days. So you will need to delete it, right? So these are very typical, SQL queries you will need to run to complete the inclusions and exclusions. And after this, then that list of emails legally, you can send them another email soliciting business, without breaking the laws. Okay, and after that we have segmentation. So once again, we say you can segment the needs or prospects by age group, by gender, by education, by occupation, or some other characteristics. Could be demographic, could be preference, could be behavior, right? And then you need to plant a random seed to separate email lists into control and test group. So this is how you do it. right? So we have 80%, 20%, 80% control and 20% test. Okay. And then after this, let's say you give it a week, you hand this over to data engineering IT, and they will run this list through Mailchimp, and then you wait maybe 1 week or 2 weeks, and then the system will capture all those activities, and then you will do the post-campaign analysis. So then your KPIs, you're going to calculate the sent, number of sent, number of delivers, opens, clicks, and bounces, and subscribes. And then you can derive these ratios. So these are KPIs. So open over deliver is open rate, click over deliver, click rate, and bounce over send is bounce rate, and subscribe over deliver is unsubscribe rate. So you run this, and you will get the summary. Okay, so if you really want to do some analysis around this, for instance, you can find the top campaigns by the number of opens. You can do that. Okay, any questions? So we do have a question from Denise. Is email campaign experience usually required in many jobs? So this is common sense if you think about it. So nowadays, almost every business you have marketing department, right? Marketing and sales and service, or maybe marketing and sales and operations, right? And traditionally, the companies spent money on TV and radio, maybe posters on the subway. But it's losing the edge, and it becomes less and less effective. And nowadays, especially the millennials and Gen Y and Gen Z, people who were born after 1990s, I think you are not used to digital channel. So perhaps if you want something, you will Google, or maybe you have the habit of logging into YouTube and watch some videos. So it will be more effective to run ads on YouTube, or maybe email. So email campaign is just one form of digital marketing. And so now, please tell me, Denise, is email campaign experience valued or required in many industries? And my answer is absolutely, right? So you see banks, they send emails to you, and telecoms, Rogers, Bell, they send emails to you as well. A lot of times, if you go to the mall, if you shop, if you buy clothes, when you check out, they will ask for your email. Guess what? What do they do with the email? They will send you flyers and for Black Friday, like this Friday, and they will send you good deals with the name. When you see maybe a camera or a computer that you always want to buy, and then now look at this price, it's a good deal. So you're going to click into that good deal, and it's going to be measured, behind the scene. So to answer your question, it happened in retail, e-commerce, financial service, insurance, banks, and pretty much everywhere in your life. Okay, so after that, if I come back here, now tell me if you feel better. If you feel better with this. I think it's definitely better, right? You feel better. You feel like you have a good feeling with every single bullet. So that's what I meant. In order to help you overcome this feeling like a fake, you just have to do some actual real work in the business environment. So that's what we do. WeCloudData, we work with the industry experts and we design the project and we simulate your job, before you apply for the job. So you already did it, right? So when you look at this, oh, I did everything, or I did every single step. I feel very good. I feel very comfortable if I'm asked to talk about the project. I actually look forward to it, right? All right. So I'm talking about the role-based training. The role-based training is with simulate the work environment, learn skills, so you can learn skills in context. And you remember, you anchor the skills in the context. You will never forget it because you know what is this? This is basically the same thing I walk you through. So you can produce professional work samples, and even better, you can build a project portfolio to showcase the hireable skills, and then you can get more interviews. You can pass interviews with better stories. Any question before I move forward? Yeah. So this is basically a simplified walkthrough of this project. Okay, so now the technology changed so quickly and so fast. Some of you worry about what the job requires 2 years experience and 3 years experience, sometimes even 5 years experience. The rule of thumb is if you find yourself meeting 40% of the qualifications, apply anyways. And the length of experience is a horrible measure because you know what, the quality of the experience cannot be measured by a quantitative measure, right? So it's not that 6 years experience means something unless it's highly relevant. But if 6 years of experience less relevant or not at all relevant, then it's nothing. So hiring manager knows that, and they care less about the length of experience, the number of years of experience. Recruiters, they do, because they don't really understand how to measure the expertise. So they use that. They also ask you, how many years of experience you have using SQL, how many years of experience in CRM or digital marketing or email campaign, right? And you will need to find a way to convince the HR or recruiter that you actually have real expertise, and our mentors will teach you, how to bypass the recruiter and the HR, so you get to see the real hiring manager. The real hiring manager, they know how to recognize or test or measure or assess your skill. They usually will give you a coding test, or maybe it will give you a case interview. So to be honest with you, that SQL test is something we changed, and it was originally a test from the employer, and we use the same thing to prepare you, right? And the actual assignments or project or use cases are a lot more complex, and so you can use them to showcase your qualifications. All right, go to the next one. So what kind of jobs you can apply after the bootcamp? If you look at this bunch: marketing, sales, product, operations, finance, risk management, human resources. These are departments. These are name of the department. So if you put an analyst after the department name, you can definitely find a role. So marketing analyst, sales analyst, product analyst. So meaning every functional area, they will need the analyst support. And what about these CRM, retail, e-commerce, government, investment banking, supply chain? So these are bigger. These are like industries. And once again, if you put an analyst after each industry, that row actually exists. So CRM analyst, you can find it on Indeed or LinkedIn. Retail analyst, digital policy analyst for government, investment analyst, supply chain analyst, real estate analyst, right? So it's pretty wide. And if you do data analysis bootcamp, you can cover a lot of jobs. So I'm going to break it down. So a lot of times people see data analysis, but before data analysis, you also have business analysis. So this will make sure you work on the right problem, right? Sometimes people don't really understand the problem, and they are going in the wrong direction. So that's the worst. You are solving the wrong problem. So first and foremost, we need to make sure you understand the business objective, you understand the needs and requirements, you get the question right, okay? So then to answer that question, what data do you need and where can you find it? So you can go through this middle stage, which is data analysis. So you collect, process, and make data usable. And then you try to find insight from the data. You try to find trends, patterns, and relationships. So that's business intelligence. And then you find a way to present that insight. So you could do charts, you could do maps, you could do bars. So that's business intelligence. It's communication back to the business. Okay. So this is what I meant by going wide. So if you're really good at business analysis, data analysis, and business intelligence, end to end, you command higher salary, right? You can make a lot more money than people who only knows this part or this part or this part. And then you have to depend on other people to feed you data, or you have to depend on somebody else to finish what you left off, right? So those of you who develop a professional range and can go from beginning to the end, you can make 90,000, you can make 6 figures. I have seen, the bootcamp graduates getting hired for a job that pays 12, not 12, 120,000. But those are not norms. So usually it's between, I would say, 65,000 to 85,000. That's most of the students, how much they get paid. All right. So the next one. So different titles. So you could become a BI analyst or data analyst, BI consultant, developer, engineer. Analyst, consultant, developer, engineer. So analysts and consultants are more on the business side, and developer and engineer are more on the technical side. But you could always become a manager or director. Yeah, so that is indeed a pretty good starting salary. Even new grads from the school, it's very common for them to get paid 70K, to start. And you can get paid more. And so usually when you're in the data space, and people don't wait that long, every 6 months or maybe a year, and they will get a raise, they will get a promotion. Otherwise, you could just jump to a different company and they will get a better job and that pays more, right? So does BI usually earn more than DA? Yeah, I would say so. So DA, you see, it's the way in the middle, and this is the hard job. This is the dirty work, right? So you're working with the messy, hairy data, but you don't finish. So that's why I call data analyst 99 degrees, meaning with just one more degree and you will boil. But I think you will be motivated to hit the point of business intelligence because that's ultimately your purpose, right? So you want your work being used and have an impact on the business outcome, right? So for that reason, business intelligence BI role is more visible because when directors and VPs look at this work, oh, who did this? This is amazing, right? So then you have a reputation, and then you use your work to connect yourself to the people with power and connect to the people with opportunity. And I consider, BI the fast track for promotion. I think I did. Is fast trackers and BI professionals are fast trackers. Okay, so start a BI career now 2023, and we're in November, so we have about 40 days to go, and then very quickly is 2024. So for those of you who really want to break into the data space, I want you to seriously consider the bootcamp. So this is what I talk about, the self-paced bootcamp with one-on-one TA support. So we'll teach you 5 data tools, and Excel, SQL, Python, Tableau, Power BI. So SQL and Python are 2 programming tools. SQL is used to handle internal, structured data, and Python is used to handle external unstructured data from the internet. And Tableau and Power BI are just 2 most popular visualization tools we need to learn. And then we have the 8 heavy-duty, industry project in CRM, in digital marketing, in finance, in fintech, in risk management, what else, retail, and I believe we also have a use case in real estate and another one in human resources, I believe. So the intention or the objective of this bootcamp is to cover more use cases and more industries. And with that, you could walk away with a good portfolio. So something for you to show the employer and hiring manager. The purpose of this bootcamp is to really get you the right skill sets to get a job. So you will be able to pass the coding test. You will be able to pass the case interview. And I want to tell you that, 9 out of 10 people probably do not have the courage to write the coding test or to work on the case interview. And or our students can do that. So if you can do that, you immediately reduce the competition by 90%. So this for $3,000, I think it's a really good value. But then if you really want assurance, and especially for students with absolutely no experience, with 0 experience, you may want to consider RCP, the real-time project. So part of WeCloudData is the consulting business. We do business development, and we get real project from large and small companies in Canada and US. And this experience you can definitely put on the resume, and it will help you get interviews. And we also provide one-on-one career services. What we do is we pay our successful alumni to come back and help the new generation of students. So we pay them, $50 an hour, and we allocate a portion of your tuition to pay the mentors. So it's going to be a one-on-one, and they will help you with a resume, with job networking referral, and they will help you with interview scripting and practicing. They will even maybe train you or coach you on coding tests or case interview. And some of them even help you with portfolio building, right? It really depends on your needs. But this is one-on-one on demand. So the purpose of the bootcamp is to help you become competitive, and this is to help you become expressive. So you can explain jobs with confidence, so you can get interview, you can pass interviews. So this is a job guarantee, and what does it mean? And you see this price point and 10,000. So wow, 10,000, and that's a lot. It is a lot, but if you don't get hired, we will refund you the 10,000, right? So this is a package that we put together. You can do just $3,000 bootcamp only, or you can do 13,000, the whole total package, and to get the peace of mind. This will only work if you're truly really motivated, and the mentor will love to work with motivated students and to help you achieve your goal. And then we can get a piece of that, right? All right, so okay. So next one is, I think many of you probably have done a lot of learning, but it's frustrating. You want to ask how much is enough, when is enough. And we want to tell you that you don't need to learn everything. You only need to learn enough to get a job. So what we do is we simulate your role, and we also provide you with the context and how you perform the task in the context of function, process, business, and industry, and how you communicate up, down, and across the organization to get the job done. So to make sure you understand this, I want to zero in. So imagine this is you. Well, this is the kind of role, this is the kind of position you want to apply for. In order to understand your job description, so a lot of times the job description is written out of context. It's almost impossible for you to really understand the job by reading the job description. So what we can help you is to show you the bigger picture. So for instance, in order to deliver product, service, and value to the end user and customer, you need a process, right? So chances are you will work with some other people upstream, and you will work with some other people downstream. So for instance, if you need data from IT, so this could be the data engineering IT or DBA, right, who knows really well where to find what data, right? And for instance, this person is the user of your report or dashboard, and you will need to collect requirements from this individual. And you have a boss, or maybe boss's boss, right? Or you also have your peer analyst in your team. So people say, in order to succeed in your role, you need to make friends with 4 people, or maybe 5, right? So you have a supplier in IT, supplier of the data. You have a customer of your report in business. You have your peers, or maybe a mentor you can learn from. Of course, you have a boss, and that's your sponsor, right? So make sure you meet or even exceed your boss's expectation. So your boss can provide your support when you need it. So this is function is vertical, and this is process, and process is horizontal. So you can only define your role using these two lines, vertical and horizontal. The intersection is your role. So to truly really understand your role, you will need to understand both function and process. And for the process, there's always input and there's output. So for instance, data as input and report is output, or maybe report is input and insight is output, right? Okay. So now to really understand the whole thing, and we'll need to learn the business. So that comes down to how to make money in this business. What are the core processes? What are the decisions the people in business team need to make at different levels? I'm pretty sure the CEO makes decisions, and the executives and VPs and directors, they also make decisions, and employees make decisions on a day-to-day basis. But those decisions are made at different level of hierarchy, right? And they have the impact on maybe long-term, mid-term, and short-term goals. I hope you understand this. Okay, Lahid, I work as a data governance manager, but I have no formal training. Will learning data analytics help me get ahead in the data governance field? Absolutely. So data governance is very, very critical. Data governance is to make sure when data was created and as data move, from system to system in a process, and sometimes you will see humans, they touch the data manually, and that's extremely dangerous, right? So when you find data issues, for instance, if you're doing reports, you will understand this as firsthand experience. So when you create the report and the report doesn't make sense, and you look at the data, maybe the data is wrong, or maybe the data is incomplete or is empty. The data could be late, and there are all kinds of data issues. How do you tackle that? And the right way, and that is data governance. You want to go upstream to the source of the data to fix the data issue at source, and also at the moment of creation. There are 2 points that are important in the life of a piece of data, and when the data was created, and then when the data is used. And you only find the problem when you're trying to use the data, and that's oftentimes too late. But that's still valuable feedback. So I'm pretty sure, Nahid, you agree with me, and it doesn't require fancy technology to really have good data governance. And I think you need better communication. So if you get the data creator and data user in a room, and you have them talk to each other, you will hear conversations like the data creator will say, when I created data, I never thought you're going to use it this way, right? So now that I see you use my data to make a decision and it has a negative impact, and I completely understand the importance of the data integrity. And so next time when I create the data, when I capture data, I will make sure I get it right, at the time of, at the moment of creation. So in data entry, so sometimes you see the rules. For instance, when people create a password, and you usually ask them to input the password twice, right? You know what I mean? So if you do the password 2 times, then chances are you can reduce the error rate by significant percentage. So it's not unusual for people working in the front office. They need to type the same data twice. You think it's a waste of, time and resources, but that's also a way to ensure the data quality. So data governance, the other example is, have you seen people handling data manually in Excel? That's extremely scary. It's very, very scary. So you can see 2 teams and 2 departments, and they get data from the same source. And then they went their own way, and then they create reports, and the reports go up to managers, senior manager, director, and VPs. And sometimes you see, 2 bosses, they fight each other and over which report is more right? And when you look at that, it's poor data governance, only because there may be a process that is manual, or maybe the definition of certain KPI is not consistent. Okay, you know what I mean? So data governance is really, really important. Imagine the senior management team, they can spend that good time thinking, how to monetize the opportunity. Instead, they spend that time fighting and arguing, which data is more correct. Okay. I totally agree with you, Eric. Routinely and a lot of my time went into verifying the data. Yes. So ideally, we need to fix the process first. And then you also want to automate the data validation. You could build rules into data validation, and if it failed the validation, it will reject the data, something like that. Okay, so this is the business intelligence bootcamp, and this is just an example. We have to have more than 5 projects. So at the core, we'll teach you the tools, but those of you who use Excel can testify. You can spend like 6 months learning Excel. There's no end, but it's unnecessary. You don't need to learn everything about every tool. In my theory, you only need to learn 20% of every tool. You only need to learn the features, and that you will use every day, that will use over and over. So in my opinion, what not to learn is as important as what to learn, because you have very limited time. Okay. So the role-based training is very, very cool, because the context will determine what you need to learn, okay, in order to solve the problem. So the same is true, for SQL and Python, for Tableau and Power BI. We will teach you the essential skills that you will use over and over and over again to solve all these problems, okay? To solve this project in use cases. So that way, the skills you learn, you will never forget. I think many of you have had the experience. You take some online courses, they just try to teach you the tools without context. And of course, when you're trying to learn everything, it's going to be very basic, right? And without context, I'm talking about the forgetting curve. After several weeks, you will forget most of them. It's like you never had it before. So you still feel very empty. And the best way for you to learn, to master a tool is to remember how you use it to solve the problem. You remember tool by the context, by the problem you solve. That's basically what I'm trying to get across. Okay, so this is business analysis in a nutshell. So how to make money in business, process, decision, goal, and objective. How to measure success. So at different levels, I'm pretty sure you have seen the hierarchy of work, and the senior people working at strategic level, the middle managers work at tactical level, and the employees work at the operational level, day-to-day operations. So it's important that your data supports the decisions at all three levels. You probably understand the level of detail, the granularity of data. And that's the reason why sometimes you will need to go down to the transactional level, because the business may need that many details. You can always roll up from detail to high level, but if you get the raw data at the summary level, and then you cannot drill down, right? So that is also one consideration when you try to understand the business needs and requirements, how granular you need to go down to pull the data from the sources. You want to do it just once and create a data flow, and then later on you build the pipeline, you build the reports, and after another month, another quarter, if you want to refresh the reports, you only need to press the refresh button. Okay, so everything is automated. Okay, so this is data analysis. Data analysis includes pre-processing. So that's probably data governance. You can see if the data is available, if the data is complete, if the data is accurate. There are certain rules you can build. And then you have the exploratory data analysis, the EDA, and you will calculate the summary statistics. That's also a good opportunity to see if you have extremely small and large number, or maybe the age that doesn't make sense. You know, and somebody is 150 years old, and that just doesn't make sense. So summary statistics will help you understand the data better. So then you will detect the data issues, and then you can treat them. And then after that, you will need to change the size and shape of data. And then after that, you can put data from different sources, put them all together into a data model. And those of you who really understand SQL, and not just the programming language, but also the database system. And you will agree with me, the ERD is very important. The dimensional data modeling is very important. So you just have to understand dimension table and fact table, primary key, foreign key, one-to-many relationship, these things. And then this is the business intelligence. This is the highest point you can keep. And once again, you will create dimensions and KPIs so you can present the trends and drivers. And you can also write up the conclusions and recommendations. And you will help the business, visualize the value creation. So using business terms, and it's either revenue growth, cost reduction, efficiency gain, quality improvement. So I'm going to pause. I'm going to play a short video. So this is the work from the students, and it's the capstone project of some students. So you can see it's very cool. The quality of the work. It's amazing. So I'm going to check the time. Oh, so 15 minutes ago. So imagine if you can produce the work of this quality, and you won't be able to convince the hiring manager you have the skills to succeed in the role. And doesn't matter if you have done it 2 years or 6 months. And the hiring manager will be sold, will be convinced. Okay. So this is the mentorship support. And we actually develop our own app to support you. This is the technical screening test. And once again, I said, if you can pass the technical test, you will reduce the competition by 90%. Okay, so any questions from the audience? You know what? I'm going to send you, before I forget, I'm going to send you a link, just in case you want to schedule a free consultation with me. And we can talk about you, your career, and your next move, what makes sense to you. Let me do this. Oh, we have a how much focus is on BI. So BI is very presentable, right? So BI is something you want to showcase, but you know that BI is built upon BA and DA, right? So BI is the ultimate deliverable. Vernon, I had to step away for a bit. What was the app on? Oh, that is the mentorship app. So we have some cool features, so you can use it to archive and store the applications, and you can practice mock interviews. You can save the video, and then the mentor can watch it and give you. It's not synchronized; it's async. But of course, you can do mock interview with the mentor, you know, face to face or in person as well. Okay, so let me before I forget, let me give you the link. So this is the link. So you can click my calendar link to schedule a short meeting with me, and you can send me your resume ahead of time so I know you better, so I'll be prepared. For the portfolio, are they based on real data? It's almost real data. When I say almost real, with the personal identifying information mask, but we have databases, you know, some tables over 15 million rows, right? So it's pretty heavy. So you will need to consider your query performance. You will need to do performance tuning to increase the speed and use less memory. So those kind of projects will make you feel very confident, you know, when you go out and look for work or maybe have an interview with the employer. Okay, so coming back, any other question before the closing? Okay, so to finish it off, so these are some of the myths. People, okay, from Ether. Sorry, can you repeat what we can discuss in the career mentor session? We can discuss your career path in general, or if you have some challenges and frustrations, you want to get some guidance. For instance, how to learn and how to improve. I can, help you with that as well. And if you have tried, look for work, but I'm successful, we can talk about that too. And positioning, we can look at your background, where you come from, and then which direction or which industry makes more sense for you to go, in future. We can also talk about the different options, we provide at WeCloudData, the Bootcamp, the real-time project, and I can give you more information on real-time project. And if you want some references, for instance, people with the same background as you, but are currently working in the industry, I can connect you to them. All in all, I'm not sales, but I really want to help you, and I want to see you succeed. But now the market is tough, so it's unimaginable if you do things that what everybody is doing and expect miracle to happen, right? So I want to emphasize that the skills that make you stand out are sometimes hard to learn by yourself. You need to work with a team. Okay, so back to the slide. Sometimes I get this question, is data the same as IT? No, data is not IT. But then you also code, you do programming. But there's a big difference between data programming and application programming. So software engineers and developers, they develop application, right? Data analysts, you use SQL and Python to manipulate data, to process data, to make data useful, right? Second, what do I do all day? Just running queries and make reports. Long time ago was because we didn't have the technology we have today. So yes, you run SQL queries to get data and then export the data into Excel and then create a chart and copy paste the graph into PowerPoint. That's long gone. That's like 1980 or 1990. Now we need to connect, for instance, Power BI to Azure SQL database. So it's data pipeline, it's automatic. And then the queries will go into production. So you will just build it once, and later on, if you want to refresh the reports, it's very easy. You can even make that automatic. So it's scheduled jobs. And it's not just static reports. Now we are creating the dashboards you saw just a while ago. So the job is actually a lot more interesting. And especially when you see your work is having an impact on the business outcome, and you have that sense of pride. You feel very proud of yourself. Okay, third, do I have an advantage in data analytics with a STEM background? Not necessarily. Like I said, everybody has your own unique strengths and weaknesses. Nobody's perfect. There's no such specialization data analysts in school. To be honest with you, schools are so detached from the real world. Just look at the trend, how fast AI develops. I'm pretty sure the school universities and colleges are very slow to respond to the real world problems. So don't bet your career on universities, and don't go back to university. You don't need another degree. So in this case, people coming from the STEM background, I think you might be better at coding and programming, but you need to really understand the business and have a sense of purpose, the big picture, and also get better in communicating with the business team. This is the flip side. I might have a disadvantage with fake finance, accounting, business, and economics background. Once again, not necessary. I have seen people coming from the fake background doing really well. You just need to work harder on SQL and Python, right? And SQL Python, in fact, is not that difficult if you know the right way. It's essentially data structure and algorithm. So you need to really understand how we organize data into database and tables and how to connect them, using primary and foreign key to create a data model. So if you understand that, then we talk about steps 1, 2, and 3, and 4, how we manipulate that data structure, and which is called algorithm. So if you can break down a problem into steps, and then SQL or Python becomes easy because it's pure logic, right? Okay, so then there's also 2 strategies: go deep versus go wide. So going deep, you are digging a trench, and higher degree of specialization can be dangerous, because what if whatever you have learned becomes outdated and obsolete, and then you feel like your confidence is built upon that, right? And then the whole foundation is gone. But going wide, I think developing a professional range and being good at connecting the dots, you also have a competitive advantage. And once again, there's no best way for everybody. I think everyone is different. You have different personality and different strengths and different weaknesses. So, but these are 2 strategies you can consider. Once again, let me just double check the time. Okay, so it's almost time. I'm going to stop here. I really enjoyed the session, and I probably have seen some of you before. I encourage you to reach out. I know some of you just keep analyzing the situation. Have you heard of analysis? What is the right term? Analysis? Paralyzed, yes. So you have been always analyzing, and then you can't even take action. So be a person of actions, because when you take the first step, and you will be able to have the information that you wouldn't be able to know, right? And once again, you can take advice from me, from different source, from another person. When you triangulate 3 different views, and I think very quickly you will have a good idea about your current circumstance and what makes sense to you, what next step. Okay, so I thank you very much for your time, and I hope to see some of you in the free consultation, and have a good night.